if I could go back and talk to intermediate Spanish Ben, my old self, and give him some really good advice, this is exactly what I'd tell him so that he could get through that intermediate plateau and up to an advanced higher level much more quickly, but above all, much more comfortably, because it's a tricky phase. Right? So this advice is absolutely key if you're an intermediate Spanish learner and you want to get up to an advanced level in much better shape, okay? And it really is great stuff. I wish I could go back and talk to my past self. But anyway, we're going to talk to you instead. ¿A que sí?
Claro.
Marina's going to help out. She's going to tell us all of the main points in Spanish, and I'm going to sum them up in English to make sure that no one misses a thing. There's quite a few, but they are all really important. So get ready for that. First of all, remember to make sure that you've got our super free report, 15 Spanish slang phrases that every intermediate learner must know that are going to make you sound much more fluent and confident in Spanish. And they will help with this whole getting out of the intermediate phase and getting you up to an advanced level. So there's a link underneath for that. Are you ready, Marina?
Claro, estoy preparada.
Good. You're in charge. What's
Claro.
point number one?
Pues
what
mira,
would you go and tell intermediate Ben?
que a veces, Ben, vas a sufrir. Lo siento.
Sometimes I'm going to suffer.
Sí, porque te vas a ver en situaciones con mucha gente hablando a la vez, con conversaciones cruzadas y no vas a entender nada.
Ni
Y
pizca.
además te va a doler la cabeza.
Fantastic. So, look, we're starting with a dose of realism, but you need to know because sometimes you will be in situations where you feel desperate and you think, I can't understand everything. I thought I was intermediate Spanish. I don't get a thing of what's going on here. And as Marina said, vas a tener dolor de cabeza. You're going to have a headache, all right? This is completely normal. This is what I would tell myself. You will suffer sometimes, but you will get past that suffering and there will come a day when you can understand everyone and you can talk back fluently to them. Si no te
Claro, si no te frustras.
rindas nunca.
Claro.
That's what I wanted to say. If you never give up. Okay. So, you will suffer, but it doesn't matter. Carry on. Next.
Muy bien. Pues unas pocas palabras bien escogidas te pueden llevar muy lejos.
Yeah. So, a few well-chosen words can get you a lot further than you think. So, we talked about the moments of suffering when, dinner parties with Marina's friends when they all thought I was an introvert. But what I would do occasionally when I remembered to just open my mouth and get on with it is just to use the few words I knew to go a long way. Here is a really basic example. You want to go to the sort of
Ferretería.
DIY store, the ferreteria, to buy one of these, a screwdriver, right? But you've got no idea what a screwdriver is called. You do happen to know that the word for a screw is
Tornillo.
Entonces, you go to the ferretería and you say, estoy buscando una de estas cosas para meter y sacar, meter y sacar un tornillo. No sé cómo se llama. Y dicen, un
Destornillador.
destornillador. Not surprising, I wouldn't know that word. It's blooming long and difficult. But anyway, destornillador, a screwdriver. So use the words you've got to go round subjects and to describe things, and you'll learn a lot on the way. Okay.
Okay.
Next.
Pues que aprender o estudiar el diccionario no funciona muy bien, ¿no?
Yeah, just studying the dictionary, which some people do. My sister did that. And
Pero tu hermana lo hizo cuando ya sabía bastante.
yeah, when she was already quite advanced, she used to study
Para
the
aprender
dictionary.
vocabulario,
Yeah.
pero no a un nivel...
Okay, does anyone even have a dictionary anymore?
No, posiblemente no.
Well, we should throw this point out the window. But I used to have one, and I guess the point is just studying long lists of words isn't very
Claro,
useful.
total.
What I would say to do instead is to go out and just...
Sí, exponte a cuantas más situaciones mejor. Ve al banco, ve a la ferretería, ve al médico. Habla con quien puedas, claro. A lo mejor es en un restaurante o en un taxi o con el chico de Amazon, con quien quieras.
Yeah. Put yourself into as many Spanish-speaking situations as you possibly can. Okay, so if you're living in a Spanish-speaking country, never hold back or shy away from the idea of having to go to the bank or having to go to the chemist or having to go to wherever you need to go, just go and speak to everyone you can. Never, ever avoid the Spanish-speaking situation.
Y si no vives en un país de habla hispana, todavía puedes buscar alguna ocasión para hablar en español.
Yeah, even if you don't live in a Spanish-speaking country, as we've said recently in other videos, there are Spanish speakers living and working in places like the US and the UK, in a lot of places, in restaurants and so on. Go chat to them. They'll love it. And you will get better at Spanish. So look for these opportunities and use them. You will get out of the intermediate plateau faster than you think. Next.
Bueno, aprende a esperar las mesetas y a quererlas, ¿no? Amarlas.
Sí, ¿por qué?
Porque llega un día que de pronto, ¡pum!, das un salto y subes un nivel, ¿no?
Yeah, so Marina said, aprende a esperar las mesetas.
Mesetas.
To kind of hope for, look for, or wait for these plateaus, okay? These plateaus are completely normal in any learning process. Think of something else you've learned in your life to a really high level. You will find that they're always stuck moments, all right? What happens then is you just don't mind anymore because you go, I know that if I carry on, I'm going to jump up. And it works like that. It's worked.
Y esperas el momento mágico, ¿no?
Yeah, it's a magic moment and it will come. So if you're stuck, all you have to do is carry on and you will jump up before you know it and when you least expect it. Next.
Muy bien. Puede que pensar en español al principio parezca imposible, pero llega un día que ocurre de manera automática.
Yeah, so this is what I would go back and tell my intermediate self who was feeling like, why can't I think in Spanish? Will I ever be able to think in Spanish like I do in my own language? And the answer is sí.
Y
it will
soñar
happen.
En español.
Yeah, you can even dream in Spanish. Exactly. And it does happen. Why not?
Vale, otra cosa muy útil es colecciona o apunta las palabras que más te gustan, ¿no?
Yeah, so keep a record of the Spanish words and phrases that you really love, okay? Don't know why, but it has this kind of magic effect on your Spanish learning process. Well, of course, if you're enjoying something, you're going to do more of it. But you might think, I heard this really slang word the other day, I don't need it, I'm probably not going to use it. But if you like it, keep it and do use it. Why not? Look.
Ni fu ni fa, for example.
Ni fu ni fa.
¿Te apetece ir a dar un paseo?
Ni fu ni fa. ¿Quieres ver una peli esta noche?
Ni fu ni fa.
All right, ni fu ni fa means I'm not really bothered either way, right? But what a great phrase. And lots of our learners have kept that just because they love it. And why not? And if you use it, even better. Look, this weekend we were in the Pyrenees and our daughter collected some mistletoe from a tree. And I was like, how do you say that? How do you say that? Murciélago? No, that's bat, but it's very similar. I know it. And it is?
Espera que me he olvidado.
Mistletoe. She can't remember. Wait, muérdago.
Muérdago. Es que lo de murciélago me ha confundido totalmente.
Muérdago is mistletoe. Okay. How often are you going to need that? Only about once a year when your daughter pulls some off a tree in the Pyrenees. But, you know, what a beautiful word. I'm keeping it and I'm going to use it all day long. Especially because Marina doesn't even know it in her own language. Think of that.
Que sí, que la sé.
Hablo mejor español que Marina.
Es verdad, claro.
Fantástico. Next.
Bueno, también unas poquitas palabras así muy coloquiales o slang pueden ser muy resultonas, ¿no?
Pueden ser muy resultonas. They can get a really big result. That's a great phrase. Pueden ser muy resultonas. So yeah, a few slang words can have a really great effect when you use them with Spanish speakers. They can really create connections. So ni fu ni fa, everyone's favorite. We always say it, tiquismiquis, when you're a bit fussy or picky about food or something like that.
Una de nuestras favoritas que no hemos encontrado una traducción igual de buena en inglés es estoy agobiado.
Estoy agobiado. ¿Cómo estás hoy, Marina?
A veces decimos, I feel agobiated.
Yeah. Estoy agobiated. Yeah, terrible Spanglish. There was people ask us, what do you speak at home, English or Spanish? And now we're quite good. We either speak English or Spanish so that we don't confuse our kids. But before we had kids, there was a time where we just spoke this complete mix mash because we had this kind of perfect communication by mixing the best of both languages. So estoy agobiado, brilliant phrase for you to learn, is when you're just overwhelmed or a bit stressed out. But we discovered it sounded even better if you said estoy agobiated. I'm feeling a bit agobiated, which doesn't exist. Terrible Spanglish. Anyway, next.
Abraza tus errores.
Right, advice to the intermediate Ben.
Este es muy importante.
love, embrace, hug your errors, okay? They don't matter at all. The more mistakes you make, the faster you'll learn Spanish, because it shows that you are trying, you're producing the language, and you don't mind if you get it wrong, because what you really want is to get it out. And that is how you get fluent faster. ¿Sí?
Sí, como por ejemplo bachillerato. ¿Cómo dices bachillerato?
Even at an advanced level, you're going to get things wrong. Our son last year started doing baccalaureate. In the UK, they do things called A-levels. In the States, is it SATs? Can't remember now. But anyway, here they do baccalaureate, which in Spanish is bachillerato. Right? Do you know how long it took me to say that word correctly?
He cannot even write it properly.
I can't write it properly.
No.
It's almost impossible to spell. But anyway, bachillerato is baccalaureate, right? We had to go to loads of meetings when our son was about to start this level, and we had to use that word non-stop, and I just kept getting it wrong and wrong and wrong. I would talk to Spanish friends and say, sí, nuestro hijo está a punto de empezar el bachillerito, you know, and they would laugh, and I'd say, I'll get it one day. Anyway, I got it. Make mistakes, it means you're being fluent. Next.
Fluidez por encima de precisión.
Some of you will know this. It's one of our favorites. Intermediate Ben, put fluency above accuracy. What are you learning Spanish for, Ben? You want to talk to people. You want to go out and make friends. You want to communicate with the entire Spanish-speaking world. So just speak, all right? Fluency above accuracy for now. Yes, accuracy is important. And twice in my Spanish-speaking life, I really went to nail the accuracy by doing the DELE exams. I did the DELE intermediate at some point, and then the DELE C2. It was called superior at that point in time. With those two exams, I really forced myself to nail the grammar. But outside of that, I didn't do an awful lot. Occasionally, I'd look stuff up in a grammar book, do a few exercises when I really needed to tidy something up. But mostly I wanted fluency, while making my best effort to speak as well as I could, but without being an obsessive perfectionist.
Exacto, no tengas prisa por alcanzar la perfección, incluso no tengas intención de alcanzar la perfección, ¿no?
Yeah, don't be in a hurry to become perfect.
La comunicación es más importante.
Yeah, communication first. Right, next.
Sí, esto ya lo has mencionado, no necesitas estudiar tanta gramática como piensas.
Yeah, you don't need to study as much grammar as you think. A little bit, yes. And I would always have a grammar book around somewhere in the house, so that if I wasn't quite sure if antes de que used the subjunctive or not, I could at least go and look it up, right? So often you'll be out in the world and at this level, and you'll say something and you'll go, doesn't sound quite right. I'm not sure if that should be por or para. In that case, it's really handy to have a good grammar book around at home, or of course you can go and use the internet to look it up. And yeah, go and check that grammar point, but don't spend 5 hours a day doing grammar books when you'd be better off listening a lot or speaking whenever you can.
Uh-huh. Vale, una cosa muy importante que hemos aprendido los dos es que las distintas habilidades del lenguaje se aprenden a distinto ritmo. Uh-huh. Es decir, puedes a lo mejor leer muy bien y hablar regulín,
yeah.
¿no?
So the different skills involved in learning a language, so that's speaking, writing, listening, reading, they develop at different rates. You can at some point have amazing reading and not so good speaking. You can have great listening, but your writing can be terrible, and Marina's got a story about that now, but it's completely normal, completely fine. Don't worry about it. That is my advice to you.
Vale, pues claro, a mí esto me choca mucho porque yo había estudiado mucha gramática en inglés y bueno, y sabía escribir bastante bien en inglés. Sin embargo, Ben era capaz de hablar mucho más fluido que yo, pero si veías su español escrito, era, vamos, yo le decía, pareces un niño de 5 años escribiendo.
Yeah, so Marina was telling the story at the end there of how I used to send emails to her, and she's like, well, Ben speaks really well at this point. This was kind of maybe in my upper intermediate days. I could speak pretty well, but my writing was like a 5-year-old kid. Really. I would send her emails when she was still working, where were you, IBM or somewhere like that, I don't know, long ago. And she'd write back going, parece que tienes 5 años, escribes como un niño de 5 años. Like, yeah, appalling, the word she used there. I would write terrible emails. But that was one of the things that I nailed when I went and did one of those high-level exams, because I thought, I want to pass this exam, I've got to get my writing up to scratch. And also because there came a time in life when I had to start writing a lot more emails in Spanish, and I wanted to do it well. Okay, so it's fine. Doesn't matter. You will have different skill sets at different levels all the time. And there'll come a moment in your life when you say, hang on a minute, I want to level up everything. And maybe then an exam can be good if you're an exam kind of a person. All right.
Muy bien. Otra cosa sería, no tengas vergüenza del nivel que tienes. Es fantástico si hablas 5 palabras, 5 palabras. Si hablas como un upper intermediate, pues como un upper intermediate. No pasa nada. Donde estés, la otra persona que hable contigo lo va a recibir bonito, ¿no?
Yeah.
Tienes una historia sobre esto.
Bueno, just to sum up what you said there, don't feel embarrassed by the level that you've got, okay? Just speak. Because people will be impressed that you're even speaking Spanish to begin
Y de
with.
que estés intentando, ¿no?
That you're trying, yeah. I would sort of put myself in the opposite situation. I imagine that I bump into a Spanish person here, or maybe I'm back in the UK or something, and I find a Spanish person who's doing their best to learn English. If a Spanish person comes up to me and speaks bad English, but I can see they're really into learning English and they're doing their best, then I'm going to be delighted. You know, I'm going to think this is a great person. This is fantastic. Who cares that his English isn't, level C2 fluent, perfect accent yet? It doesn't matter because he's made a real effort to learn my language. So the other way around, when you speak Spanish to people, you're already doing better than 90% of people that go abroad and don't learn a word. So if you've got to intermediate, you're already like a champion. So no embarrassment. Just carry on. So yeah, I mean, the other day, estaba yo hace poco en Granada con un amigo en un bar y vimos a cuatro ingleses, ¿no? Un grupo de 4 ingleses. Y estaban hablando con el camarero, ¿no? Y no hablaban español. Entonces, ¿qué hacían? Pues gritaban, hablaban mucho más alto. We're going to leave our table now and go over there instead. You know, so this group of 4 people is 4 Brits in a bar in Granada. It made me laugh because it was the old way. You know, if you want a foreign person to understand you, carry on speaking your own language, but shout. And that's exactly what they did. And it made me laugh. So if you've already got to the level of intermediate, you're amazing already. And just carry on. And you'll get to advanced.
At least you are trying, yes.
You're trying really hard. It's everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're nearly done.
No te rindas nunca, por supuesto.
Never give up. No te rindas nunca. One of our super wonderful listeners, Linda, we've mentioned you often, wrote to me the other day saying that she loves our slogans, nuestros lemas, such as love your mistakes and so on. But she said also, no te rindas nunca. And I said, I think that's my favorite too. Never give up. No te rindas nunca. ¿Estamos?
Y, claro, nunca dejes de escuchar.
Marina wasn't going to let this opportunity pass. She'd have said, this is what I would have told Ben then.
Bueno, Ben told me that, really.
Yeah, okay. Keep listening. Just keep listening. It's the secret to everything. So keep listening to us, hopefully, in our courses and so on. But, you know, whatever. If you find The Simpsons, somebody asked me recently, what could I watch on telly as an intermediate learner? We were asked in a Q&A. And I said, well, when I was at that stage, I used to watch a lot of The Simpsons in Spanish because it relaxed me at lunchtime. It's quite funny, and the Spanish was more or less understandable. You can stick the subtitles on, no problem at all, and it kept my Spanish going in a dark time, basically, and helped me to get better. So anything you enjoy, but make sure you're always listening. Okay, well, I think Intermediate Ben just got some pretty good advice then, so I hope that it's served all of you as well. Remember, if you really want to do the best you can, then do check out our courses. They are designed to get you up to the highest level as quickly as possible. Our real intermediate course is ideal. We have these great conversations in Spanish between the 2 of us, and then we pick out all the words and phrases that you absolutely need to know to carry on up past the plateau to the next level. Also, make sure you've signed up for our free report, 15 slang Spanish phrases you really need to know. I nearly got my tongue twisted then. That will help enormously as well, so there's links underneath to those. There's another video up there if you'd like to watch some more Ben and Marina now, but do go check out those links. They will make an enormous difference to your Spanish. That would be my advice to intermediate me. Check those links out. Ok, ¿algo más?
Nada más.
Venga, hasta luego.
Hasta luego.